So the first concept which I want to tell you is the variable declaration. Now in our JavaScript, for example, let's say that in our JavaScript, so how we have declared the the variable. So let's try to show you. If I try to, where is this Chrome thing? Yeah. Now here in the JavaScript, now the variable declaration we have did using where name is equal to Leela, and we have did the console.log of Leela. Okay, so this is the console.log of name. So this is the variable declaration we have did it up to now. So now when the ECMAScript 6 has been introduced, so the variable declaration, so some of the variable declarations has been introduced. I will try to tell you one by one. Now if you try to see here, the concept is if I try to tell you, the concept is how it will happen is, so instead of declaring it with the where, you can also use let name is equal to Leela. So let is also one of the keyword which we will be using for the variable declaration. So what is the difference between let and where, we'll discuss. And if I try to do console.log of name, then also it will work. Okay, so then also it will work. So here you will be able to see that yellow mark is there. Let is available in ES6 or Mozilla JS extensions. So if you want, you can use the Moz extension like this they are saying. So I told you, right? So we should be very careful on those things. So now when I try to use, so then also I'm able to get the Leela as the name. So then what is the difference between the what is the difference between the let and the where? For example, let's say that I am having where name is equal to Leela. Okay, so this is the thing, and I am having a condition in such a way that if true is there, so that means if true is there, so I will try to do in a such a way that I will try to do, if true is there, I will try to do name is equal to, okay, so I will try to change it to some other name, and I can use the console.log of name. So this is the thing which I will be trying to access. So now I'm able to change this name. So if I want to declare it, I can also declare this one where name. I can also declare this one where name, and I can use in such a way that, so then also I can able to get it. So here I will delete this name. Okay, so this is all comes under variable hoisting. We'll discuss about the variable hoisting also. So now if true is there and I am declaring the variable, so now here where name, and I am consoling this one like this John. So there also it is working. Now whereas if you consider this one, for example, in our JavaScript, we have learned about the two scopes, that is nothing but a local scope and also the global scope, we have seen it. Now let's see about the let option. So let's try to say the same let option. I will try to use it, and if I am using if of true, okay, and I will try to change it to name of John, and I will do console.log of name. If I try to run this execute, so it will be working same as the where only it is working. Now I will try to remove this one option. Okay, now I will try to do like this, let name is equal to John. So now let's see that whether this name will work outside this if loop or not. Let's try to see. Previously where it will be working, right? Now if I try to see here, see, I am not able to get the output. So we are getting JSBin output, that is nothing but a where name which was declared in this editor. If I try to check another name, some XY, and if I try to do this XY, let's see this one. So now we are able to get that XY is not defined. Why we are getting this one? So we have declared this one, right? Whereas if I declare this one as a where, then I will be able to get an output of John, something like this. But when I am converting it into the let, then the problem rises. So then the problem rises. It is telling XY is not defined. So the thing what will happen is, here you need to understand. So where XY, if you declare anything, so this one will become a global scope. And if you declare this where XY in the same function name, if I try to use it, and here if I try to use XY is equal to Leela, okay, and if I try to use name, and I call console.log of XY, then it will not work. Why? Because so that XY belongs to the local scope only, so that is nothing but a functional scope. Whereas if I declare this where XY is equal to some values, if I declare it, Now xy, if I try to print it, so we are able to get this dsd only. Why? Because this where xy belongs to the scope only. Okay, so that is nothing but functional scope. In the same scenario, when you take the let option, okay, when you take the let option, so if I am keeping a block scope, okay, I am keeping a block scope here, if option, so there is nothing but this block. So if block, in this block, and I am using xy is equal to some value, and this xy value variable will be available in this block only. So if I try to print this console.log xy, then this will be available inside this one. If I come out of this block, then what will happen here? Console.log xy, if I try to do it, so we will not able to get it. So now if I try to see xy, you will get a value first time, ds we are able to get it. But if when you are trying to see access this outside the if block, then we are able to get an error. Now let's say that, so remove this xy let thing and try to declare it at the top. Let xy is equal to some name I am trying to access it. Now if you try to access this one, so now I have declared it at the top, let xy. And if I try to console.log here, I am able to get the ds option. This is one. Why? Because we are overriding. And also if I try to do this console.log, then also I will get an output. So if I try to see the output, see now I am able to get the output. How come this one is possible is, now you have declared xy at the top. So consider this, the entire program is one block. Okay. So this let block, this xy will be available to the entire this block. So when you mention this one in this block only, then this xy will be available only to this block. So that is the reason let is a block scope variable. Okay, we can say it as in let is a block scope variable. So what is this block scope is? So this block. So whatever the block, if you are using in any if block, for block, or anything, in any function, so for not in any curly braces. Okay, so in this block, so wherever you are declaring this one, in the between the curly braces, it will work in between the curly braces only. So block scope variable, this is called as a block scope variable. Whereas where depending on the declaration, it will behave as a global scope and also the functional scope. We have seen that one. Okay, so let in the function also, if you declare, it will become as the functional scope only, in that one only. In the function, if you declare it one in the separate block, it will behave, it will be available in that block only, it will be available. So like that it will behave. So this let is called as an block scope. So this is the meaning of the block scope. Wherever you are using, so you should be careful that when you are declaring a variable, let variable means, so whatever the block you are declaring, in that block only this variable will be available. Outside the block, if you want to make it available, means you cannot make it available. So this is the one concept. So let, this is also one variable declaration. The keyword has been introduced in the ES6. Whereas where also will work in all the browsers, let works in the modern browsers. The let means it is a block scope variable. So another type of declaration which is supported in the ECMAScript is, that is nothing but a constant. If I try to say here, const x is equal to 4. Okay, I have declared x is equal to 4. And I will try to do console.log of x. Okay. Now if I see the output, so I am able to get the x is equal to 4. Constant x is equal to 4. Then what is the difference between this one? So constant and the let and where, what is the difference between this one means, constant value, when you declare this one as constant value, now where I will try to assign some other value to this one. So now first time it is declared as the 4. And the next time what I am trying to do, I am overriding the value to the 5. Then what will happen here? Let's see. Then the output, so we are able to get an error that assignment to a constant variable. So you are trying to assign a data to a constant variable, which should not be done like that. So this is the option. This is the thing which you need to consider. Whereas if I convert it into the let, then it will work without any problem. It will work. Whereas if you are using constant means, then the reassignment will not be possible. So that is the thing you need to understand. So if you mention it as an array also, and if I try to do something like x is equal to 5 or something like that, then also you will get an error. Okay, assignment to anything. So you cannot change the value. Once it is declared, you cannot change the value. So normally what you will try to do, so for constant variable, you maintain it as an capital letters. Okay, so you can also maintain it as in capital letters. This is the constant thing. And whereas the let is a block scope and constant is also a block scope only. But the difference between this constant and the let is, so constant will not let you to enter the data, reassign the data. whereas the let will do as normal variable only it will work, but it is a block scope thing. Now what is the difference, and another difference what you need to consider is in the constant. For example, let's say that I am using 1 comma 2 comma 3 comma 4. Okay, I am using x dot push of 5. Okay, I am using x dot push of 5, so that means I am changing the data of this one. So previously it was constant 1 2 3 comma 4. Now I am pushing some value to the this one. Now if I try to do console.log of x, so it should throw an error. Why? Because I am trying to change the data in this x, right? So if I try to see here, I am able to get an output 1 2 3 4 5. So what is happening here? The thing what is happening here is, if you understood about the primitive types and the reference types, I have already explained it to you. So if I try to open the paint, I will try to tell you again. So in the primitive data types, so when I declare x is equal to 4, okay, so you have a memory location. In the memory location 4 will be saved, and now this one is declared as a constant. Okay, so that means this memory location data should not change. Now you have assigned it as x is equal to 5. So when you assign x is equal to 5, here the data is trying to change, so which should not be happen. So then you will get an error. Whereas in the array, where what it is happening here, I have mentioned it as x is equal to 1 comma 2 comma 3 comma 4. I have mentioned it like this. Now you have a memory location in such a way that this all array will be saved 1 comma 2 comma 3 comma 4. It is saved in one memory location, and this one you will be having one memory pointer, and this pointer will be saved in the memory location. This is the x variable, and here you will have a memory pointer as we already discussed. So now what I am trying to do, I am trying to do x dot push of 5. I am trying to do. So what he is trying to do, so x dot push of 5 means, so here the data will not change, here the data will change. Okay, here the data will change, but here this memory location pointer will always remain constant. So as long as this memory pointer is remained constant, so there is no problem in updating this one constant. So that is the reason constant is not throwing any error. For example, if you try to do something like x is equal to abc or something like this, if you give, now what will happen? So a new memory location will be created and it will be saved here abc, and this one will have a memory location of 0x2 or something like this, and this number will be tried to change it here 0x2 so that it can refer to this memory location. Now this one cannot be possible. Why? Because now here the data is trying to change, whatever the number or data it is having, it is trying to change here. This is not possible, whereas you can push and you can do it, all the things you can do it. This is one thing you need to understand it. So whenever you think that constant variable and you are trying to push, that means indirectly you are trying to change the data of this one. So when you declare it as a constant, don't think that it will not allow. So it will allow. Why? Because internally it is a reference data type, so that is the reason it will allow it. This is one concept in the constant which you need to remember. So whenever you are trying to change the existing array, means it will allow it because of the reference data type. Whereas the primitive type and all those things, so those things will not be allowed. So if you try to change here, and if I try to assign it some other data, so it will not allow it. So this is one thing you need to understand. This is about the let and the constant. So we have learned about the three types of variables declarations, that is nothing but let, which is a block scope. Okay, and we have seen about the var, which you already know about this one, and it is a global scope, and depending on the declaration, so it will behave as a global scope and also as a functional scope also, or that is nothing but a local scope. And another one is nothing but a constant. We have seen about the constant. Constant is nothing but it is also a block scope, and it remains constant. The value remains constant depending on the type of data you are declaring. So the value will be always constant. So we have already seen about that data type, data also, how it is maintaining the constant thing. So these are the three types of declarations which are available in the JavaScript right now.